an artist, which is trying to get that genuine performance out of them, where as best as possible, they are connected and present for every note that they sing or play in the moment. That thing that I do, and that I basically crafted my personality in such a way that I can do this effectively to bring out that performance in who I'm working with. And I had lost touch with doing that myself. Not only lost touch, but the question then arises, had I ever performed a damn note in my life while being present? And like I'm tearing up already.
Wow.
I'm really tearing up already talking about this, because I spent the last year learning this prelude by Rachmaninoff, not for any reason other than personal reason, to get connected with an instrument again. And some of the amazing musicians I met in Bombay, one amazing fellow, Rohan Rajadaksha, one of the best keyboardists I've ever seen, really blew out any excuse I ever had to not practice piano. Like, oh, I don't have an 88 key fully weighted, so I can't practice this Chopin. Most people would agree that you can't practice Chopin without like a fully weighted 88 key, quite frankly, or Rachmaninoff. Most people would actually agree with you. And I sit down and I see this guy play. He doesn't play Chopin or Rachmaninoff. He's just an amazing keyboardist, like a virtuoso. But it doesn't matter if he has a sustain pedal. It doesn't matter if he has a small Casio. It doesn't matter if he has an 88 key or he's sitting at a grand piano or a Rhodes or an organ. He plays the fuck out of that shit. And he could just do anything. Like, he just makes it work. And I was like, man, I'm talking about not having instruments. I can afford a 61 key MIDI keyboard, like with no sounds, that I can just plug in. I can pay the incredibly small amount of money for that shitty piece of gear, and I can try to plug in my headphones and learn this Rachmaninoff, at least get the notes under my fingers. And then I can, when I have access to go to a grand piano when I'm at the studio, I can, for a moment, I can steal away and see if I can fucking play it. And I spent a year with a fucking, just this small MIDI controller, trying to get the notes for this piece that utilizes all of the whole full keyboard. It needs you to play with the sensitivity on those proper weighted keys, but just banging it out through difficult personal circumstances, moving around. When I was in Arizona, I arranged for there to be, like, I'd already learned a substantial amount of this piece. Again, for no reason. I'm not doing this for any project. It's just like, listen, dude, like, you have to, like, anyway, it's hard to talk about because it's
for you.
It's profound because, like, anyway, I'm learning this thing in Arizona. I'm there for 4 weeks. I'm pretty much practicing piano all day to learn this 4-page Rachmaninoff prelude. And by the time I leave Arizona, I can play the last 3 pages. I left the first page to last because it's supposed to be the easiest, although I'm finding it's not necessarily the case. And then in Toronto, I'm here, like in between, if I'm in Phoenix, I like to look up, in 2 days, if there's like some place where there's a piano that I can just practice at, and I hire out a place for like an hour and I just practice. And then, I come to Toronto and I find a place, where can I go? Is there a piano I can practice? And I just practice for like an hour here. And then I end up house sitting at my friend's place for like 2-3 weeks. It's like, shit, can I go to my store's locker and get my 88 key keyboard? Can I get it? And I do. Instead of going to the practice space, I go get my keyboard that I haven't turned on in 7 years. Thank God it works. A bunch of my other instruments were stolen, but this one was there. They didn't see it in the back, and it fucking works. And I plug it in, and I've just been practicing this piece like almost daily. And I can finally play it front to back, and the muscle memory is there. And now the goal is to just play with emotion. Every note, to feel every note, to not think about the note, to feel the note directly, to experience the thing directly without the veil of symbolism and language in between, which is like fucking difficult as hell. I can't do it without breaking down and crying each fucking time. Like literally like 40 minutes before our call, I was sitting at my keyboard crying, like playing this Rachmaninoff, because the moment you realize that you're doing it, and I'm making mistakes and all this stuff, but the moment you realize you're doing it, it's like you're brushing up against this eternal fucking thing. It's like, there's so many ways in which that shit is just magic. It's so profound. Like, I can't even begin to tell you. I could go on about it for so long, but it's exactly like meditation. It is meditation, right? The whole thing about just focus on your breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Why is that the first instruction in meditation? It's because it's the most direct experience you have, right? If you just focus on that and pay attention to that sensation of the air traveling up into your nostrils and then traveling out, and if you can maintain that thought without interruption to the best of your ability, then you are by definition in the present moment. That's the key, but the ultimate key is then to just apply that to your being, to not think about the language, the words that you use to interpret your day-to-day reality. Like if if you and I go to some beautiful natural wonder, like let's say we go to the Grand Canyon or Niagara Falls or pick any amazing place, and we're there together and we're both looking at it, and the whole time that we're looking at it, I'm talking into your ear and describing it to you. That's annoying as fuck, right? Understand that our mind is doing that to us constantly, right? That's what's going on. We're not experiencing life directly. It's coming to us through this at least one veil of interpretation of language and words and symbolism before it even goes through our ideological veils. And then that all sounds like a bunch of ridiculous philosophy. Sure, I mean, whatever. You can judge me however you want, but I'm sitting down at the piano.
I think I was telling you about this Eckhart Tolle book that I didn't end up reading, but he was talking about that.
Yeah.
You know, once you're aware of, like, being aware of the thoughts in your brains is the actual consciousness. That's like the present.
Yeah. And it's just like, if you can bypass that. And so I'm sitting there and I'm trying to play this Rachmaninoff, and I'm trying to feel each note because I learned the thing. My fingers know the notes now. And it's just like, how can I just directly experience the beauty of this composition? And every time I do it, I start crying. It's like the most ridiculous thing. And it's not tears of sadness. It's not tears of joy. It's not tears of laughter. It is simply the manifestation of being profoundly moved by some the thing that you brush up against that makes people believe in God. That thing, right? For a moment, you brush up against it. And I've decided, and I realized that me learning this composition is my offering to the universe. It's like, that's my offering to meet God, as it were. I don't believe in God as a deity, but that's what they say. They say that if you do something like selflessly, you get to meet God. And that's what they're talking about when they say that. That if you do it selflessly, you will brush up against that thing. That amazing thing where ideas come from, because they don't come from us, man. That's what it is.
Right.
And this is, this is the kind of weirdly profound experience that I've been having, just trying to like reconnect with my instrument. And I don't know if any instrument that I claim to play. And what else can you say? Like how can I ask any artist to like give an authentic performance if I can't authentically, like if I can't play this rock, you know what I mean? It's a weird thing, but this is where I'm at.
It's a metaphor. It's like
it's something.
Yeah, it's like it's something. Yeah. Wow. It's crazy that like take that lesson from being the producer and guiding other people to kind of internalize it yourself, and
got to do it myself, man. What do they say? The doctor has to take their own medicine or whatever. Not to say that I'm a doctor or anything, but perhaps the meaning of that. But that's all it is. It was just that's what we're trying to manifest. And I the other thing that's really amazing about that is that like Rachmaninoff is some guy that lived in Russia in a different time, a different place, spoke a different language than I do, and it's like crazy enough that like we have text. That like we can transmit ideas through time via text. That's already like a mind-blowing idea. And then if you add on to that we have translation, so that if we speak different languages, I can somehow at some level understand your experience if you're from a different culture, if you're from a different time. But Rachmaninoff, like any composition that's notated, is written in this code. This guy, like this came out of him, like this came through him, this composition. And so the many that he's made, basically, he showed up every day, right? And he made these compositions, and he had this code that they devised. And as much as I hate music notation, I really think it's awful, but somehow this thing was invented, and basically
It's
through
what
this,
we have.
yeah, it's what we
Right.
have. But thank God we have it in the sense that, like, through that instruction, Rachmaninoff, like, how he had no idea that some random weird person of Indian origin in Canada would be trying to devoting his entire year to just learn this fucking thing and to learn it and to just experience the beauty of this thing. And I will tell you that I have not sat down and learned a classical piece of music on my own since I was like 18. And I just stopped doing that. And it's been challenging. But I can tell you, after all these years of trying to analyze music production, all these different concepts, not just from a theory point of view. Like, it's easy enough if you have some training to analyze this Rachmaninoff composition from a Western music theory point of view. But the architectural beauty of these compositions, when you're forced to learn them, not forced, I mean, I forced myself. When you learn them, when you put the effort in to look under the hood, like, I can't handle the profound beauty of how it all fits together. There's a reason why people associate mathematics with sacredness. There's a reason why people associate like certain proportions and stuff with sacredness. It's not because I don't know. I'm not making a statement about whether God exists or not. I'm just saying that these things are profoundly moving. There's something there that when the pieces fit together in such a way, it's just so moving. And to learn this piece and see all these internal pieces, how the motifs repeat again. Forget that the motifs are rooted in Western theory. Imagine that they're architectural motifs. Imagine that they're brush strokes and how the certain brush strokes imply other brush. Like, it's just amazing. It's beautiful. And somehow this guy transmitted that information to me to tell my fingers what to do. And now today, in this time, my fingers are doing this. I mean, in a very real way, there is something flowing through me and through time that's beyond me. Like, it's not very far from literal if you really think about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to go on about that and just to be weird.
No,
but
I love it. I love it.
You know.
I mean, you're having a real profound experience, and music is touching you in a real way, and you're living in the moment, and you're being present, and yeah. I mean, I think it's inspirational. Like, I'm feeling like, damn, when was the last time I tried to really like practice something and feel every note and just be there practicing it? I can't remember. It's been a while.
Well, this thing. There's another thing phrase that I love, which you were talking about, like rediscovering the sense of play. And I discovered this phrase, second naivete. It is the naivete after one has passed through some, passed through a loss of innocence.
Right. Once you've been jaded.
Yes, you've already
How do you become naive again?
Exactly. The second naivete. To approach your craft, your task with a second naivete, with all the knowledge and insight from having lost the innocence. But to approach
You've learned all the rules, and now how do you go back to breaking the rules,
exactly.
or something like that?
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah, it's something. I actually started going back to therapy for first time in 15 years.
Okay.
And
congrats.
Yeah, thanks. It's been super helpful. Like, didn't realize how badly I needed it. I was like talking about how, like, over the course of adulthood and stuff, like, just like life gets duller because you build up these walls and you build up the thicker skins and like things that would and in the course of I was telling this to my therapist. I don't remember if it was this week or last week. It was last week. How I read an email that I wrote 10 or 12 years ago or something to friends about, like, a bunch of my friends didn't show up to my show, and I was really upset about it. And they would go to their the other friend's show, but they wouldn't go to my show. And I read it today from like this like vantage point of like, who cares? Like, they didn't show up. I don't care. Like, my skin has grown very thick, but then it was so important to me, and I was so sensitive to it. And it's like, man, like, on one hand, like, who is that Ben from 12 years ago? But on the other hand, like, who am I now that I don't have that? You know, it's like, how do we retain that? How do we get that back? You know, like, I don't know. So what's the theory of getting a second naivety?
Well, I don't know if there's a theory to it. It's just like, it's just a notion. Like, it's the notion of recovering from being jaded or overcoming jadedness, I suppose. And I'm probably also misusing the phrase. I mean, I heard it referred to in a book, and I looked it up. Like I looked up the definition, and I feel like I'm probably utilizing it in a slightly different way, but that phrase really manifested.
No,
And ultimately, it
makes
is
a